So I always wanted a job where I was giving back and I was going to make the world a better place.
I was a college student at Utah State University.
Many years ago, the New York Times had this ad campaign that went, "I got my job through the New York Times."
The first time I set foot on this campus was to judge a science fair.
So my husband got a job that we had to move out east. We moved out east and we ended up in Richmond.
I was finishing up my second bachelor's in secondary ed. And I went to the Student Union building and noticed a little 3x5 card on the message board that said something about a teacher job in Richmond, Virginia at the new community school.
And they would have these big posters up in the subway with people with all kinds of interesting jobs that say, "I got my job through the New York Times." This is before online posting. Well, TNCS hired a head of school who came from the New York area. And he did most of his hiring for his first year in New York. And I got my job through the New York Times.
And I had some job interviews in June when I came, and I looked and said, oh, I'm going to just look at the newspaper. And I saw this ad in the newspaper. Small college preparatory school working with dyslexic adolescents needed a reading teacher. And I thought, oh, wow, that kind of sounds interesting.
I was talking with a good friend after I'd been here for a little while, and I said, it takes a while to get used to the fact that when people smile at you on the street, it's not because they want something. And she said, well, what do they want? And I said, to say hello.
What we do here with our students made me realize how unique our educational institution is.
My first experience of the school was rather unique. I've tried many times to put a word to it, but there was some special feeling at that time that this was a unique place.
I wish I could say that I said yes to the new community school because I had a deep commitment to the education of dyslexic young people. But honestly, I knew nothing about dyslexic young people.
I was here for 5 years, from 1979 through 84, and made the decision to try teaching somewhere else. And that somewhere else ended up being northern Alaska, north of the Arctic Circle, a little tiny town. I always tell my students here, do you think you are in a small school? We had 21 students in our school.
I've had the opportunity to do a lot of different things here. And to me, that's one of the exciting things about working at New Community School, is that unlike what happens in a bigger school, you have to do a variety of things.
Okay, I have had many roles here at New Community. Some of them I could never imagine would happen.
The primary role I've played, of course, is a science teacher.
I guess the thing that I think the biggest role I've played as a teacher, I think of myself as a teacher in every role I've done in the school. And I think of it as the most important role that I've had in my life.
So somewhere along the line, and I can't tell you exactly when, I became the middle school coordinator. And I'm not really sure what that job was, but I found myself starting to plan weekly assemblies and planning activities the kids could do and the faculty could do to form a community, because I felt strongly that people that worked together would enjoy being together and would bring out the best in us.
I feel like I've been really lucky here because I've had the opportunity to have a number of students for a number of years, consecutive years.
I remember helping a young man who came to us with very low self-confidence, and he was not an athlete. He was not a particularly athletic person.
I had a young boy that came, I think he was in 8th grade, he might have been in 7th, and he came out of a public school and he had a lot of difficulties in public school, just relating to the teachers and letting them in, because he had so many difficulties that he didn't want to let anybody see it, and so he really protected himself.
I remember helping him develop his soccer skills to the point where he felt like he was a better soccer player. He was, and that in turn helped him grow in his self-confidence to the point where, and now I know him years later, and he is a very self-confident man. He's not young anymore. He's just a very successful adult.
And at one point he said to me, you know, I don't want to be the person that I used to be. He said, at my old school, everybody was afraid of me. And I said, they were? And he said, yeah, I didn't want to let anybody in, so I just made them all afraid of me. But the kids here are just really nice. And he says, so now I want to have friends, and I want to be with the kids.
This is a place where you feel like what you do every day matters.
A lot of the kids, when they come, they've been kind of broken down. They feel like there's a lot that they can't do, and they focus a lot on what they can't do. And when they come here, they're shown that with help, they can do that. And each time they get a successful experience, they have that feeling of resilience inside. We're all born with it, we all have it, but some people don't get as much opportunity to feel it.
The New Community School is a place that cares. And it's a place where students care about what they do. They care about each other. Where teachers care about what they do. They care about their students. And the students know that we care about them.
I think hope is what, I know that's what's driven me, and I actually feel it's a great privilege to be a part of kids' lives, and I've felt a profound responsibility to help them help them become better people. And I think you can't give a better gift than hope.
I'm going to miss several things about New Community. I'm going to miss the camaraderie among the faculty. I have great memories of going over to DOTS back in with my friends here on the faculty, and that goes back to the early 80s.
Oh yeah, I'm going to miss the kids a lot, and the experiences, and the staff working with people that are all working together on the same goal. I'm going to miss it, but I'm going to enjoy a new part of my life.
I'm going to miss my students. I'm going to miss my colleagues. I know I'm going to miss the challenge and the opportunity of doing the things that we do every day.
I get a lot of energy from the kids, and I'll miss them. And I'll miss my colleagues. I've been blessed to have worked here and had a purposeful, meaningful life. That's hard to give up.